What's poppin', guys? Gar Champion here. Today we're going to be exploring the idea of the Hashiras taking on another upper rank demon. That upper rank demon being Gyokko. I figured this would be the best route since we just covered Gyutaro and Daki, which are upper rank 6, and so Gyokko is upper rank 5. Like we did in the last one, we're going to be comparing each Hashira individually against each of Gyokko's forms in a one-on-one combat. For time's sake, we're going to be leaving Muchiro Tokito out of the equation since we already kind of know what happened to him. He soloed his ass. If you're curious about the Hashira's abilities, I've done character breakdowns for all of them already. So if you're curious about their abilities before the Infinity Castle, link will be in the description for the playlist. Before we do the matchups, let's break down Gyokko's abilities. Gyokko has the ability to manipulate his flesh at will, from fish monsters to pots that can do various things, and even change his own form. These pots are important to his strength and survival. Depending on the type of vase he summons, it will bring a certain type of attack. These tie into his blood demon, so we will break these down and display the pot he uses for each. 1000 Needle Fish Kill. He summons floating fish demons from his pots and spit out poisonous needles. The poison contains paralyzing properties. Water Prison Pot. A vase structure is made from water that traps the target. This technique stops breathing techniques as it drowns the person inside. Octopus Vase Hell. Gigantic tentacles come out of this vase and restrain targets. 10,000 Gliding Slime Fish. He summons 10,000 fish from various pots in an all-out attack to devour them whole. If the fish are cut, they release a poison before they disintegrate. This poison can be absorbed through the skin. Killer Fish Scales. This can only be done in his true form, but he delivers a wide range of barrage attacks that are powerful because of the immense speed and his unusual body constitution. With his scales, he is able to manipulate his attacks in obscure angles and direction. This makes his attacks unpredictable. We are shown that he can create fish-like monsters that seem to follow whatever he instructs them to do. They are shown being used remotely, destroying the town while he is in the woods from far away. The method of killing these creatures is to destroy the pots as meats are displayed while saving the town and the village chief. The pots are also interesting as Gyokko can teleport between the pots that he creates, making it hard to hit him as he teleports the last second to evade attacks. He also uses these pots to sword people as well. We are shown a swordsmith approaching it and being sucked into this pot, then later being shown multiple swordsmiths jumbled all together. So the water vase is not the only way to trap an opponent. I got something for you guys. If this next fact surprises you, then feel free to hit that like and subscribe button. I think I've earned it at that point. He actually has a beheading immunity. I did not realize this until researching for this video. After Muchiro beheads him, he is actually shown still alive. From how I interpret it, he just wasn't completely disintegrated yet, and kind of like how Gyutaro and Daki were able to chat before completely dying. He was actually killed when Muchiro rage sliced him to smithereens after he pissed him off. The real question is, did he intentionally do this knowing it'll kill him, or did he just do that emotionally and got lucky? That's something to consider in these matchups. Onto his true form. He ditches the pot and takes a merman form. He loses the ability to teleport but gains immense speed and strength. His scales are said to be harder than diamonds, and anything that touches him turns to fish. If you guys hit that like and subscribe button, he will not be turned into fishes, by the way, making him a hard opponent to fight in close combat. As a quick overview, it should be a given that as an upper rank demon, he has unlimited stamina and fast regeneration. Aside from this, Gyokko can use various pots with different powers to trap, poison, and overwhelm with multiple fish monsters. He is also able to teleport between pots as well. He has a hidden true form where he ditches the pot and gains immense speed and strength. Anything that he touches turns to fish, and his scales are harder than diamonds. Oh, and he also has a beheading immunity. I kind of thought he was a chump, but after reviewing all this info, I think that he will be a tough opponent. Let's go over what I feel the best ways to kill him, and then we'll see how our lovely Hashiras can do against him. He's very emotional and can be razzled when dissing his artwork. So if his opponents can get in his head, then they can make him weak essentially because he will be acting out irrationally. His arrogance can get the best of him as he puts Muchiro in the water pot prison and just assumes that he will die and leaps. He teleports between vases, so if his opponents figure out that the pots being destroyed limits his teleportation, that can play a key role in getting him to stop fleeing. When fighting the true form, they would have to be strong enough to slice and pierce through the scales. The poisons from his various attacks will be a powerful kill factor for his opponents, so having a skill to evade them at all costs and or some immunity to poisons will help their cause. Being trapped or bound by his various abilities will be a tough insta-kill as well if they can't get quickly out in that situation. So anyone who faces Gyokko will have to be very smart, be able to think fast, because his abilities will be game-ending if hit even once. Now it's time to finally get into the matchups, but first we have to lay some ground rules. Each Hashira will be facing off with each form of Gyokko separately. The tools they will have at their disposal is what Muchiro had in his fight with him, so each one will be able to have the Hashira mark, but for fun, I will also state if I believe that they can beat them without one. For this first matchup, they will be facing off against his regular form. We'll start with style and flashiness, Tengen Uzui, Sound Hashira. Tengen possesses the poison resistance, being a former shinobi. This will give him an upper hand as the poisons won't slow down his movements right away. He has the ability to block incoming ranged attacks by swinging his enormous blades like he did to block Gyutaro's attacks. He is also the fastest Hashira, as this gives him an upper hand in trying to catch up with his teleportation quickly. With him teleporting, Tengen can easily locate where he is with his good hearing and use of echolocation. He should be able to sense where he is based on the emptiness of the faces. After that long description, can Tengen defeat this form of Gyokko? I believe that this is the perfect opponent for him to take down. Gyokko's attacking style is reliant on evading and range attacks, in which he can easily dodge, block, or evade. Even if he is hit with some sort of poison, Michiro is still able to function with the paralyzing needle and then shown to be able to move freely and efficiently still. With this cat and mouse style of defense from Gyokko, he will not realize that this is only hurting him, as it will only help Tengen build up his musical score ability, which he will find his route to victory. Next up, we have Kyojo Rengoku, Flame Hashira. His willpower to protect and eliminate demons is stronger than anyone in the series, so we know that Rengoku will give his all in this fight, even if it harms himself. This is one thing I want to clarify before I get into this. All the flames aren't actually here. It's more so for looks. The swordsmanship resembles the flame-like movements, just like water breathing mimics water movements. So as much as I would like to say his flames will completely cook Gyokko like a local fish frying party, that is not the case. Since Gyokko lacks physical strength in this form, if he is able to get close enough to kill him, he will absolutely do so. Rengoku has great battle tactics and is cautious, so I believe that he will not be restrained by any of those techniques of that correlation. Defending against incoming attacks also will not be an issue for him either, as shown quickly with eliminating Enmu's tentacles on the Mugen train effortlessly. So his win condition relies on the fact of him being able to catch and eliminate in a timely fashion before the poison gets to him. I'll honestly give this one to him. He's a very tedious opponent in this form, but his sheer willpower and intelligence on the battlefield will allow him to outsmart Gyokko and take him out. I feel like if he realizes that he destroys the pots, then he will be able to limit his transportation and get himself in a winning position. Mitsuri Kanroji, Love Hashira. Her range attacks and insane flexibility will give her the upper hand in dodging, defending, and allowing the necessary reach to attack Gyokko. She was shown being able to handle Zohakinen's strong barrage of attacks over a long period of time, so it will be a breeze for her. The only factor being how long she can perform with the poison, and if it will restrain her movements, since she is highly reliant on her flexibility to use her whip sword. Even if he summons fish soldiers, she is also shown defeating those effortlessly as well, so that will only be a waste of time. Here's a kicker. She was only able to handle Zohakiten because she had the Hashira mark. We barely seen her fight without it, so it's really hard to determine if she can defeat him without it. So I can say that she can defeat him only if she has her mark. That gives her the power boost necessary to catch and defeat him. Let me know your thoughts on her status without the mark in the comments. I'd love to hear your take on it. Obanai Iguro, Serpent Hashira. Iguro is not as strong as the other Hashiras physically, but he excels in tactical skills. This will give him a massive advantage. As I stated earlier, the easy win condition is to be able to think quickly and be tactical on the battlefield. His slithering attack style will give him the edge, taking out multiple pots at once, therefore limiting his teleportation spots as he can take him down from there. With Obanai's movements, I believe he can dodge trapping attacks as well as his range attacks. Sanemi Shinigazawa, Wind Hashira. I'll be blunt. I think he can defeat him easily. He's hot-headed, and the teleportation thing I think will only fuel his excitement, as it will be a challenge for him. He will throw Gyokko off, coming in with his direct hits in order to take the final blow. One thing I did not consider using as a tool in his arsenal is the fact that he has the rare Morechi blood that intoxicates demons. If he can get close enough to distract him with his blood, he can eliminate him while intoxicated. Gyu Tomioka, Water Hashira. Like Sanemi, I believe it will be an easy fight for him. It will be difficult to catch him, but he can use Dead Calm to block any of its incoming attacks and will not be poisoned or restrained in any way. I think that this will cause Gyokko to get frustrated, causing him to be reckless and less tactical. Then Gyo will take advantage of this and defeat him. Gyome Himajima, Stone Hashira. He beheaded Muzan in a single blow, so he can do the same with his trashy artist. His weapon has the most range out of all the other Hashiras, so he can easily take out multiple pots, except that will be restricted with them fighting in the woods. Is that really an issue though? He can stand under waterfalls for long periods of time, and then move a large boulder with his repetitive motion tactic. So no, the trees will not be a problem because he will chop those things down with ease in the process, therefore limiting the possibilities of hidden pots behind trees and in the brush. His brute strength will carry him in this fight. And I saved the best for last, Shinobu Kojo. For this fight's sake, I will assume that if Shinobu poisons a pot, it will affect him directly since those are manifestations of his own flesh. So if she is able to simultaneously dodge his attacks while slowly poisoning multiple pots, it will slow him down enough for her to poison the main body and eliminate him that way. Another thing she has going for her in this fight is that this form lacks physical strength since it's reliant on range and trapping techniques. To conclude these fights against the main form, even though he is a pain in the ass to deal with, I believe all Hashira will be left standing in this fight. Only questionable one is Mitsuri not having the Hashira mark, so let me know your thoughts on that in the comments. We gotta spark some discussion somehow. Next, we are onto Gyokko's true form. As a reminder, anything he touches becomes vicious, he gains immense speed and physical strength, and can still use pot demon arts but loses the ability to teleport. Tengen Uzui, Sound Hashira. I think he can keep up with his speed, but not with his overall power. He can keep Gyokko at a distance with his bombs, but those are not unlimited. I'm sure he can only carry a handful of those since they have to be used wisely. Another thing we have to take into consideration is that he is upper rank 5. He has a lot more strength than Gyutaro, which he barely survived only because others were there. So with that said, he will not be able to hold out long enough without being turned into a pile of fishes before the musical sword ability kicks in. But let's spice things up a bit and give him the Hashira mark. This will give him the strength required to be at par with him. I think this will allow him to build up enough time to build up his musical score ability and inevitably defeat him. His trash talking will also aid with him winning as well. Kyojuro Rengoku, Flame Hashira. Like Tengen, I do not think he will be able to handle him without a Hashira. Willpower and stamina goes out the window if you can be instantly turned into a pile of fish if you make one wrong move, which was the only possible win condition against the Kazu. Who knows, maybe if Gyokko touches him, he might turn into a pile of donuts. That was a good one. With a Hashira mark, I think it will give him the necessary strength and speed to overpower him by using the ultimate form of flame breathing. Rengoku, Mitsuri Kanroji, Love Hashira. This fight will be unwinnable without a mark. The mark powers allow her to be able to evade range attacks with 8 times muscle density, and allow her to be able to handle his physical strength. She will be able to chop him into a million pieces with her whip-like sword. Obanai Iguro, Serpent Hashira. This fight will be a little bit more challenging for Obanai due to his scales being as hard as diamonds. He lacks physical strength, so his tactical skills will have to be above par. I think after struggling to do damage, the Hashira mark will show up and give him the power boost to penetrate the scales and defeat him. Sanemi Shinigazawa, Wind Hashira. Sanemi is shown to be at equal terms with Obanai and Mutro in terms of fighting. With this logic, he will need the Hashira mark to behead him. Mutro needed it, so he will need it as well. Yes, he can intoxicate him, but it will not lessen the strength of his scales. So once he develops a mark, he can easily defeat him. Kyu Tomioka, Water Hashira. He is at equal terms with Obanai and Sanemi, so therefore, he will need the mark as well. Just like his battle with the other form of Gyokko, he will get under his skin by constantly dodging and blocking with dead calm, and making him reckless, and using that against him. Kiyome Himejima, Stone Hashira. He beheaded Muzan in a single blow with no Hashira mark. He can take care of him easily. Next, again, I saved the best for last. Shinobu Kojin. She lacks any physical strength to behead him, so therefore, she'll have to be able to pierce his scales with the poison, but breaking through those scales will be impossible without a mark. Once obtaining the mark, she will gain even enough speed to outspeed him, and then deal the lethal insta-kill dose of poison to eliminate him. I will note that a losing scenario for her includes him catching her and turning her into an all-you-can-eat fish buffet. If you've noticed, I never mentioned the beheading immunity. That's because I believe all the Hashira will be able to recognize this ability shortly after he is not dead yet, and can finish him off then. What did you guys think of these head-to-head matchups? I'm sure some of you guys will disagree with me, so kindly leave your opinions in the comments below. This video is all subjective, so I would love to hear your thoughts. With that said, thanks for watching, and if you wanted to watch the previous one where I covered Gyutaro and Daki, that link will be here, as well as the character breakdowns for the Hashira. Peace out.